After having a spooktacular time with Trick or Treat in October and getting in the holiday spirit with Seasons Greetings in December, Angry Birds Seasons was back with its third major update, one that celebrated the season of love. Hogs and Kisses, the witty title of the episode, offered 15 new levels set against the backdrop of pastel pink trees and floating hearts, coupled with an angelic soundtrack. It launched on February 7th, 2011, introducing a few new elements that help differentiate the level designs. Cloud blocks were the most significant addition, behaving similarly to snow blocks, allowing structures to be suspended in the air. Chocolate boxes serve the same purpose as pumpkins and presents from the previous episodes, yielding 3,000 points when smashed. As with previous seasonal updates, the mischievous pigs you'd attack appeared in the appropriate attire. If you've never played, expect to knock cupid pigs out of the sky, and bash the bows off little girl pigs as you wreck their piggy plans for a romantic night out. Man, that does sound a bit twisted. The update came with an initial 15 levels, which unfortunately made it the least substantial update yet. However, another 3 bonus levels were unlockable by liking the game through the new Facebook integration, which became a recurring feature in both Classic and Seasons episodes at the time. In addition to new content, the update introduced links to a variety of Angry Birds related content on the web. Granted, most of it was shameless marketing for merchandise or the newsletter, but one serves as an extension beyond the game itself. To the left of the Hogs and Kisses episode card was a link to the Angry Birds Seasons Facebook page, where fans could send one of 5 Angry Birds Valentines e-cards to their own wall or their friend's wall. Almost a full calendar year would pass until somebody came out with Valentine's themed merchandise, as few Angry Birds licensees existed in early 2011, and the few that did were just rolling out their initial product lines. 2012 was much more lucrative for said licensees to pump out as many products as they could. Rovio commissioned Commonwealth Toys to release a wave of Valentine's themed plushies, which made their debut in-store and online on toybiz.com in January 2012. It was a set of 4 featuring characters unique to the Hogs and Kisses episode, whether seen within the levels or not, including Girl Redbird, Valentine's Matilda, Bo Pig, and Cupid Pig. Each plush within the set was loosely based upon previous patterns from the classic set, but with unique details, colors, and accessories, which was how they were handled in-game as well. The girl bird, or Ruby as the fans have dubbed her, was Red's love interest in the cutscenes and was predominantly featured on the game's app icon at the time. The plush is similar to Red's, but her face is specially embroidered with one eyebrow raised and black eyelashes at the bottom of her eyelids. And of course, there's a bright yellow bow to the left of her topmost feathers, completing the game-accurate look. Minor nitpick, but just like Red, she's also missing her facial markings. This bizarre thing is Valentine's Matilda, who should not be confused for the original Matilda, as canonically they're apparently 2 different characters, who for some reason have a relationship. That's about as far as I'll go with that. The plush itself is basically Matilda but with pink accents and a red bow on top. The only detail lacking from this plush are the painted lips, which were actually present on the original prototype. The Bo Pig is another infamous plush, but not for the reason you'd expect. Unlike other seasonal Minion Pig derivatives, this one utilizes the King Pig pattern, which leaves many ethical questions to be answered. All Commonwealth did with this one was place a pink bow on top, which is fine, but would have liked to see special eyelashes or pink facial markings. And finally, we have Cupid Pig, who's perhaps the most iconic pig from Hogs and Kisses, floating above levels with a signature crossbow. The plush does not carry that accessory for obvious reasons, but does feature a shiny set of angel wings and embroidered hearts on the left cheek. Size variations of these can be pretty confusing, so I thought it would be best to create a chart showing who was offered in which sizes. Girl Bird and Bo Pig were each available in 3-inch, 5-inch, 8-inch, 12-inch, and 16-inch, being the only 2 to receive backpack lips, which were released a few months after the initial release. Valentine's Matilda was the same minus the backpack clip. And for whatever reason, Cupid Pig only had 5-inch and 8-inch variations, and wasn't even placed into retail assortments, making this plush by far the rarest in the set. Whether this was because the manufacturing costs were too much or some other petty reason, nobody knows. I mentioned the app icon earlier, which is pretty much copy and pasted for the side tag, just like the previous season sets. Boxes, however, were clearly an afterthought. Good Stuff variations are also baffling. Well, maybe not baffling, but certainly weirder than they had to be. Just a note, Good Stuff Toys was responsible for manufacturing and distributing plushies for claw machines and amusement attractions, but were not shameful about making them as cheap as possible. For one, the unique side tag was just gone despite the season's green set receiving theirs just a few months earlier. And of course, these have a tendency to just look wonky, especially Girl Bird, who will always have eyes that are just too small. Surprisingly, multi-packs were also released with Hogs and Kisses branding. minus the box itself for some reason. Both were 2-packs containing 4-inch variations of plushies, one of which carried 2 exclusive ones. The Let's Be Lovebirds pack came with a girl bird and a unique black Bowtie Red, who I suppose should be considered the 5th plush in this set. It's a simplistic change, but a charming one at that. Commonwealth actually had plans to release this guy in larger size variations individually, but for whatever reason, it never happened. All we have to go off of is this 8-inch one perched on a shelf at Commonwealth's old headquarters. The other pack is called It's Complicated, and well, it exists. I'm not quite sure how, given consensus opinion on these types of things at the time, but here we are. Despite its remarkable implications, the 2 characters included are anything but. Just Red and a minion pig. Though fun fact, both packs are actually based upon the e-cards I mentioned earlier, making these an appealing Valentine's gift in 2012. Tags and packaging would be changed over time with generally inconsistent results, specifically for the retail versions. 3rd generation variations sometimes had the red era tags, and sometimes had the app icon tags. Backpack lips had 3 different variations, including 2nd generation side tags, 3rd generation cardboard backing, or 4th generation cardboard backing. The box sets kept the 2nd generation design until the 4th generation releases, which are relatively obscure by comparison. Interestingly, all of them say it's complicated regardless of the bundle. Almost all 4th generation versions received all new heart-shaped side tags with both red and girl bird highlighted at the center. Unless it's this one. Okay, that's enough. It's a neat tag design for those who've never seen it, as there's no other shape quite like it. You'll rarely find a Cupid pig with any of these tags unless it's the good stuff, as the retail variation was discontinued around the end of 2012. Retail variations do exist, but they're about as uncommon as it gets. Again, I don't know what was up with this plush, but clearly it didn't receive the same treatment as the others. Anyways, back to the light blue era tag. To me, whenever I see these, I think back to the Strange Target re-releases in 2013, where I first picked up this set back in the day. Few remember this era of Commonwealth plushies, but there was a brief period near the end of 2013 and the beginning of 2014 where Target stores in the US received matte fur versions of the Hogs and Kisses and Easter egg sets. Both found a way to shoehorn in Stella, though for the set of discussion today, it was just a regular Stella plush but with the heart tag. Cupid pig and box sets were omitted from this release. The birds from these releases are definitely strange looking, feeling much cheaper than the first editions, and I don't know why these were even released in the first place. Their touch tags have a tendency to get warped and they obviously do not feature sound chips. So what do these have going for them? The answer is nothing. Did I cover everything or is there still more? Oh, I'm sorry. Our producer has just informed me that one last Hogs and Kisses related item exists, one that doesn't easily slot into the timeline. In 2022, Rust Wexcomb, a fellow collector, came across a Facebook Marketplace listing advertising a 5-inch red plush with a pink bow tie and embroidered hearts. The seller clearly had no idea what it was, and nor did Rust or anybody in the community for that matter, but it sure looked official based upon the photos provided in the listing. Upon arrival, it became apparent that this was some kind of sample given the printed hearts on the tie, the quality of the embroidery, and the red era tush tag. But for what purpose is ultimately the question. Why does this exist and what were the plans for it? You can come up with any theory you like, and many have tried since its discovery, but I assume it might have something to do with our buddy Cupid Pig. Perhaps this red was meant to be his replacement, as both feature embroidered hearts in their cheek. I'm grasping at straws here, but it seems plausible considering the set was lacking a character following Cupid's removal. And what better character to shoehorn in there than Red himself? What if this was just a prototype of the black Bowtie Red, but this was a later, more detailed iteration? I'm afraid we'll never know, but nevertheless, I'm glad the plushie itself wasn't destroyed along the way. So there you have it, a comprehensive overview of the intriguing Commonwealth Angry Birds Hogs and Kisses set. What a fascinating history this set has, one that still has a few questions left unanswered. The packaging design choices beg for consistency, but it makes for a more collectible set for those who are into that. The totality of the wave in the end was executed nicely, with no characters omitted that shouldn't have been, and designs that remain true to the game. If you have any comments, questions, or complaints, you can let me know in the comment section below. With that I say, peace out.